You know, my homies, it's typically the days that I eat shit / get hit with a reality check the hardest, that I don't want to do these videos the most. Because it's hard to want to do the stuff that you present to others when you're not succeeding, And you guys are going to see these lifts and think that I'm just talking out of my ass because I hit a heavyweight, whatever. There's always going to be a point in every single program I write. I bounce back and forth. It is the cycle of love and hate relationship in this sport, where something will work so well for some amount of time. You won't know when or you won't know how, but at some point you're going to hit a block where when you sit there and you got to really look back and be like, there ain't no way this is going to work, And today, I did not finish the workout. I told you guys yesterday I really wanted to hold myself accountable, hit a really good workout, and at the very least, I'm not stopping due to energy. I'm stopping to be smart. Because I tell you guys all the time, as long as you feel good, look good, technique is there, and there's no risk of injury, you can do whatever you want weight-wise. Today, there's risk of injury. And I don't really know why or where or when it happened, but it was probably at the 255 attempt. I caught really hard on my front delt on my left side. My left front delt, I definitely it's a small pinch, but I definitely pinched the nerve in the front delt more toward the rotator cuff. And it did not get better. It didn't feel bad until I got to my heavyweights, but you know me, at that point you got so much adrenaline going, you're already locked in. I at least give it the attempt if it feels okay. And it felt fine until I got to my top set. Let me tell you, we're still peaked. I am killing it right now, genuinely. This program's just going to go a little bit in a different direction from here on. It's going to be a bit of a weird switch, because I got to 295 with confidence, but after the 215 and 275, I could already feel my confidence dwindling a little bit because of the hit I took to my front delt. I couldn't tell if it was actual pain or not at that point, so I was like, we'll take it one step at a time. 295 goes pretty good, goes pretty all right. I catch it a little front delt heavy, but not bad. 305, kill that weight. That was that's probably the best rep of the day. It's a really good one. I committed really hard, but I felt the weight catch unbalanced. It looked good from the angle I had of that. If you watched it from the front, it did not have the same balance that angle probably had. I felt it lean a lot on one side. And then 315. Let me tell you, block 2 on a lighter day hitting 315, I have to be proud of that. There's no universe where I'm not sitting here proud as hell of that weight. But this is where everything got a little screwy. Because I commit. If I put the weight on the bar, I commit no matter what. You guys know this about me. And it crashed hard. You're going to see the front delt positioning on the catch of the clean. While it was confident and while it was strong, it was not optimal. It was not the most primed it needed to be. It fucking hurt. Let me just tell you. But I was there. I had to commit and at least hit the attempt. I had a press out on my left elbow. Again, it's going to be hard to tell from that angle, but I know that I pressed it out for sure. I had no more strength in that front delt on my left. Locking out was extremely hard. I'm honestly grateful and proud that I even managed to get it overhead and commit to it. So I'll take that 100%. It actually looked better than the one last week that I hit on my main heavy day. So we're still peaking. We're still doing well. I just got hit with a little setback. You're going to have these moments where you got to accept that that's okay. It's just a sign that the training's not going in the direction that it needs to be. Whether that means you get more rest or not, I don't care what you choose to do. But typically, in my eyes, if you're at risk of injury, you got to give your body more so, not your mind. You got to pry the obsession in your mind away for a little bit and allow your body to recuperate. It's already feeling a bit better, but it just, the numbness, it feels like I hit my funny bone, but it's in my front delt, you know? And that kind of strain goes straight to your shoulder, it goes straight to your elbow, because there's not enough strength to lock out your shoulder. So here's the idea, you know? I know that a lot of, I know people are like, no, just commit to the program anyway. Just see what it does. I've been training long enough to know that if I'm hitting a blockade before my peak week, shit's not moving how I want it to. And I've been getting increasingly tired every single day that I lift, and I'm not getting more energetic, you know? And I should be getting more ready for the heavy week than the first week. And this is something that I used to get run into a lot. You guys know I've been doing the 3-attempt type training where I give myself 3 attempts no matter what per exercise. And so I've been getting more volume and consistency at those heavy weights to emulate competition. I'm now getting smacked in the face with the reality that if again, it seems so simple, but you gotta trial and error the dumb shit sometimes to learn from them. And yeah, I'm now realizing that training like I'm doing a competition max out every single exercise probably isn't that good of an idea. It's a lot. It worked so good the first week for the most part until the very end when I burnt out, because it's the lightest week. So I essentially hit my best comp day week 1 because I did that reverse type of peaking that I used to do when I'd go as hard as I could for the highest volume on the first week and then have nothing left for the heavier weeks later on, even though I'm still peaking, you know? Because you can still have plenty of strength left, but just not enough energy, CNS, fatigue buildup, whatever you want to call it. It catches up quick. So you've got to make room and availability for that. I don't know what the perfect step is. I never do. But I do know that going back to your roots, to your basics, is typically what works for you. I love the videos online that say, like, you know, year 1 in weightlifting, you're just ripping as hard as you can. Who gives a shit? Just pull hard. And then in the next year or 2, you're all technique, all optimization, all crazy whatever. I must hit these certain amount of percentages per week to statistically increase my materialistic gains. And then you get to that point, at least for me, it's year 4, where you're just like, fuck it, pull hard again. Because like I always say, if you're giving it max intensity and you're disciplined, consistent, and passionate, you're going to make progress no matter what. So you might as well do a program that you're excited for, whether it's inefficient or not, and try to work with it. This program was something that I got very excited for because it was something new and something that I had a direct reason and goal for doing because I failed my last comp. I bombed out, mainly from an injury, but still, I wanted to try to learn from that. I'm now learning. This is the point of this program. The point of the program was not to finish it. It was to learn what I was missing. And for the most part, it's just training a little bit mentally smarter, you know? It's giving myself the availability to make the 20-pound jumps even at the heavier, especially at the heavier weights, actually, because if I had gone from 295 to 315 today, I probably would have been a lot less physically stressed. But likewise, if I hadn't, I probably would have gone to front squats and bench and potentially hurt myself further. Hindsight's a bitch, so you can't really do the what-if game. You just got to leave that be. For me, I'm going to go back to what I was doing before and do my specific jumps in warm-ups, because at least in training, that works really well every day. When it comes to getting ready for comp, however, I will allow myself to get more into the training that I've been doing, where I do the 3 attempts, you know, just to get used to that commitment. For the most part, I really didn't need to change much about my program in the first place. It seems dumb to just fully double back on what I've been working toward, but sometimes backing off of what you've worked so hard to achieve allows you to make the next biggest step to realize what you were actually missing in the first place. And for me, last time I went to comp, I was injured, I wasn't peaked, I was feeling like shit, quite frankly, because of my elbow and shoulder exploding. And I rerouted all my training around that because of my insecurities about that failure, you know? I didn't do anything wrong. I just wasn't ready at that certain time, and that's okay. I tell you guys all the time, you're never going to know when you're fully peaked, and sometimes you're going to have really, really great days, and sometimes you're going to have really, really bad days. And my competition just ended up being one of those rare bad days, and I got to accept that and move on. So further from this, we'll go back to the bigger jumps in weights, going up to heavy, just to make sure that I really get it. I can actually peak properly without overstressing my body. Because especially on the lighter weeks when I'm burnt out and need to deload anyway, I can go straight to 275, 295, for example, really fast without any stress on my fatigue, you know? I really like being able to get through these workouts faster, and especially now that I've made the volume on the power lifts a lot lower, I'll be able to get through that in a much more efficient way that doesn't hinder my core or low back fatigue. Physically, even though it went great and I hit a really big, heavy, fun weight, you know, as you can tell, not the way I wanted it to go, but got to take that with stride. I still feel physically peaked. Physically, I still have to give it an 8.8. I feel really good. I just had one little hiccup that fucked me up, but I will be able to bounce back twice as hard because of this setback. That's just how it is. Sometimes you got to complicate your training to such a degree that it forces you to realize you didn't need it in the first place. And typically, you get hit in the face when your body starts to crumble, and you just accept the fact that you're going to be, you know, feeling a bit injured for a day or two, and then you'll bounce back at your body's rate, and you'll be fine from there. Mentally, for sure, going to give it a solid 9.1. Just over the curve. Not because of the weight, not because of the effort, but because of not just the realizations of what I want to move into and being able to take that with stride, but more so the fact that it doesn't even bother me. You know, this is the cycle of anything you're passionate about. You're going to get bumps in the road. You're going to get pushed back no matter how hard you try. The best programs you write, the best next steps that you attempt are not always going to work. And that is a wonderful thing because it shows how much I have to grow when it comes to the sport. And being able to take that with a smile on my face is going to be what gets me to that next level. So I'm probably not going to be back tomorrow. I don't know. I don't want to rush back into it. I want to let my delt fully recover so that I can come back and do the training as best that I can. So at least for tonight, I'm going to chill out. Probably tomorrow I'll chill out just to make sure that I come back without any sort of injury possible. And then I'll jump back on the program like normal after that. I'll do my power day. And I'm still going to take my rest day after that power day just to get everything lined up right back where I want it to be. So I'm fully peaked, fully prepped, can jump back on the program like nothing ever happened. And we'll just see what happens. We'll go from there. If it fucks up, it fucks up. I learn again. I try again. I bounce back. That's how it is. But one thing is for damn sure. 3:15 on a light day on block 2. We are hitting some PRs soon. Thanks for listening. I love this shit. Let me know your lives and listening going. Love hearing about it, and I love you guys. I'll be back. See you later. Bye.